Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Talon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show's been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. So I was in Bristol this weekend with the family, and we'd gone over there for a day out and a bit of a roam, and we'd specifically gone across to check out Upfest, which is a brilliant citywide street art festival. And wow, what an undertaking that was. Full walls, full buildings, garage doors, shop fronts, right across what is a sizable city. And the sheer level of professionalism and expertise and craft on those walls just illuminated the place. But one little gem that I discovered along the way was in the Bedminster area of the city. Stumbled across Frankenstein Press. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's blown my mind, and it's got me checking in with you today to talk about analogue and the need for touch and multi-sensory experiencing of design, craft, creativity, because we have become so consumed by the tools, by the tech, that we all just happily lock the cage door on these 2D screens to which we make ourselves beholden. And this little place stirred such a sense of magic in me, the same way that it did when I was at Bradford College in West Yorkshire and would get to walk into this huge print studio with letterpress and with typesetting and screen printing, and the same at Keighley College where I grew up. And we didn't have quite the same facilities at UCLan on the degree course, but just feeling and touching the work and working things out in the 3D space, even if it only ever exists as a digital product, I think is utterly vital. I've been helping Pablo Honey write his book. I do book coaching, and I love that work. Helping Hector Ayuso write his book and helping Pablo, between the two, I've probably spent about 25 hours in conversation with two truly great minds, trying to understand their life story and help them to put a narrative arc on that and turn that into a cohesive, beautiful book. Two very different ways of doing things. But Pablo in particular spoke of the need to consider design from all different angles. The book's called In Between, and it's about his refusal to settle, whether that's in one country, is something of a nomad, or in a craft, because he works as an executive creative director across all kind of fields and loves to throw himself in the deep end and to not know and to work things out with both with his hands, with his eyes, with his senses and on screen. So when I stumbled across Frankenstein Press, it reminded me of all of that and my own experiences in print studios. But there's something about the feel and the analogue and seeing the work in 3D in real life that is really important. Now, Dixon Baxi, I've had the joy of going in their studio and seeing live projects laid out on the walls in prints and in book layouts, double page spreads covering entire floors in warehouses, so that you can get a true feel and a true sense for seeing the work on the page, for touching the work, seeing how the ink sits. You might remember on one of those conversations, Simon Dixon talked to me about the resonance of the microphone I was using, the little Zoom handheld that I've been using ever since I started podcasting for episodes which are done in people's studios or in a cafe or on location of some description. And he talked about how he could never know the intentions of that designer, but how he felt something beautiful in the object that resonated. And to go back to Pablo, he talks about this in Spanish, and it's a phrase called El Duende. And it's about leaving a part of yourself in the work that you create. Now, how often do we get to do that? I think when we're on screens and it's disposable and we're trapped by the tech and the digital defaults that we've kind of enabled. We've been complicit in this, and I think if we continue to be complicit with the rise of AI by just accepting that we all have to learn these tools and operate this way, and not challenging in a sense that, is that serving the idea, or are there other ways, and should we be varying our approach between the analog and the digital, then I think we really are going to make a prison for ourselves in which there are very few jobs. The flip side of that is I'm seeing a lot more people embracing the analog now, which gives life to places like Frankenstein Press. And I think it's so important. It doesn't matter whether you can draw, whether you can make. It's not about quality. I think sometimes it's about the freedom to make a mess, to make mistakes, to start the creative process with an action instead of theory or process or a particular piece of software. That is so important, because you don't find solutions until you start to make, until you commit to a creative action. And it's about making a mess, getting it wrong, doing it without condition. And if we do that, what comes from it eventually can be entirely digital. There's nothing wrong with that if that is the right way to treat the project. But it just takes us on a much nicer creative process that serves creativity better, that brings about the likelihood of better ideas, bigger ideas, bold leadership. Now I'm going to read you the description on Frankenstein Press to wrap this little monologue up. And it says, our mission is to advocate for a slower pace, nurture genuine human connections, and provide a much needed counterbalance to the pervasive influence of digital technology. Now the clue is in that word, pervasive. It's been pervasive in all of our lives. It's definitely time that we call taxi for social media, except we're on there because we kind of have to be in some regard for our networks. But how do we start to think about crystallizing that in a way that is more offline, or at least in private communities, or direct communications over messaging? You know, it's not about the numbers, and you might have however many thousand followers, but I've found through personal experience and through the experience of those with way more numbers than me, that it doesn't equate to connection, or, to use the horrible sickly term, engagement. Certainly doesn't lead to a heightened sense of purpose and belonging and connection. That's what these guys are trying to do. Our project, Frankenstein Press, aligns with the uncertainties we encounter in the face of rapid technological advancement and the pervasive influence of artificial intelligence. In this age of instant gratification and social media dominance, we firmly believe in the importance of striking a balance between digital technologies and the human-made analog experiences. Frankenstein Press serves as a symbol of embracing the tactile, the tangible and the authentic. We are committed to promoting the value of craftsmanship, artistry and the profound human connection that can be forged through the printed word. In an era where everything seems to move at lightning speed, we extend an invitation to embark on a journey that celebrates the beauty of the analogue, cherishes the preservation of tradition, and embraces the enduring power of human creativity. Welcome to Frankenstein Press, where the past converges with the present and the analogue finds its rightful place in the digital world. Now, just for the record, I'm not being sponsored or endorsed in any way. Frankenstein Press don't know I exist. It was closed on the Sunday, but I just fell in love gazing through the window and seeing the presses and just grabbing the flyer and reading their manifesto. You can check out more at frankensteinpress.com. But it's beautiful. It's important. We need to get offline. We need to have quiet space for reflection and to commit to something on the page. I personally would love to see every single studio out there, every single agency with a messy area. Even if it's just a desk, somewhere where people can go and draw and make a mess, and it's a validated, encouraged, supported part of the creative process for even the biggest digital projects going out globally. Because you just get more. People will use their hands. People will convene around that area. People will feel more creatively engaged because we are 3D creatures living in a physical environment. So I think it's utterly vital we don't hand everything to the machines. So that's just a little ramble about that. But have a look at Frankenstein Press, definitely. And a big thank you to the sponsor of the show, the founding sponsor, Illustration X, there since day one, illustrationx.com. Paradiso Institute are doing incredible stuff for creative leadership and facilitating conversations and experiences and connection, just like the stuff that I've just described. paradisoinstitute.org. And of course, the Ukrainian Institute are doing incredibly brave work by enabling Ukrainian artists and creators in a time of war. Have a look at the work they're doing and share it. Show them some love. Ukrainian ui.org.ua. Cheers, guys. This has been a Brew Brain Dump of the Creative Condition podcast. Tell a friend, leave a review, subscribe, so you can support the show, and I would love it if you did that. Get in touch, ben@bentalon.com. Nice one. See you in a bit.